Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 AT&T Pro without the AM sleepers, fades, ownership projections, and we are going to get into weather because there is going to be some weather. So let's jump into this. If you are new to the show, thank you for stopping by. I think you're going to get a lot of analysis and some pieces of information that maybe you are not getting at other places. And for my subscribe base and people that are typically tuning in, thank you again for stopping by. It means the world to me. And also, I will announce at the end who has won the $100 promo. I thank everybody for contributing their picks for who's trading up, who's trading down. We got quite a bit of feedback. And I do have a person that won. They got split out on the generator, and I will be contacting them and also announce it here at the end. Okay. So if you have not seen the previous shows, I just want to let you know a couple things I am looking at. Here's some comp courses that I am leveraging. Of course, there's Monterey and Spyglass Hill, but the problem is we don't have stroke gain data from those courses. We just have Pebble Beach. So I'm trying to look elsewhere, and the course that best correlates would be TPC River Highlands. It is a par 72, POA less than 7,200, and that's where they play the Travelers. Also, I've been looking at a couple other courses that are around the water. Again, due to the weather, so you have Harbortown and Wailea, where the RBC is at Harbortown, and the Sony, which we just saw not too long ago, at Wailea. Even though they are different green complexes and maybe a par 71, par 70, I'm looking more from the aspect of what you have to do from a stroke gain analysis that fits well there. Okay. The other thing that I'm heavily looking at is these are very fast, small POA greens. And there are guys that do very well on POA, and then there are guys that cannot stand it. Can be partially why this field sometimes is not as strong as others. I think why some of the guys actually have withdrawn. There's probably different instances for all of them, but once I saw what the weather's going to be like, it made sense why more of these guys withdrawn, and we'll talk about that here in the show. All right, so let me jump out of this real quick and let's go into some analysis. All right, so I've got 5 guys that I was leaning towards as my sleepers, and then as I started to see what weather is going to be transpiring, of course it is weather, it can change, but this looks pretty certain that there is going to be a little cool and a lot of wind. And one thing about Pebble Beach, when you get these kind of winds, it is going to be a different track, 100%. So what I was looking at to begin with was guys that fit the model of, light putting on POA, really good on approach, good around the green, had some results at some of the track courses, and I came up with 5 guys. I will show you them at the end also, but I wanted to dive into who they are. So we got Jim Furyk, and I mentioned in my previous show, Jim Furyk just won on the Champions Tour at Pebble Beach back in September. Again, he shot 12 under. That is in a Champions field, but we're not looking at just the guys he's playing, is what can he go shoot at this course. And shooting a 12 under, that's pretty solid for someone that's 7,400. Jim used to be kind of like a Matt Kuchar, where it was a kind of an instant. You could plug him in, he'll get you to the weekend. Might contend here or there, but was definitely, someone that wasn't super sexy, wasn't get you a ton of points, but did get you weekend points. So from a cut perspective, you felt good with him. As of recently, he's been okay. As you can see at the Sony and the Safeway, he made the cuts, then had, cut at the PGA and the Wyndham, and then made the cut at Memorial, which is pretty interesting because if you remember the weather conditions at the Memorial, they were quite harsh on Sunday, and so that he ended up at a T48 also bodes well for him. If we look at some further information, do I actually need that? I've already got it up. Jim likes to putt on POA. He can play and win in difficult conditions, and I did pick these guys before the weather, but most of them do fit that can play in the wind, so that's a good news. And his stroke gain, slightly, on an upswing. His approach is solid. That's what we need here, small greens. I'm not worried about what he can gain off the tee versus a field. We don't need him hitting it 340, 350. We just need his putter hopefully to pick up and around the green. And you can see he's had a little better around the green and putting, at least at the last event at the Sony, where we saw him. So I am liking some Jim. And then also, like I said, with the win at Pebble Beach back in September, it's something that that I'm going to go ahead and look at. I've also got Adam Long, and this was before I looked at the weather, But what I liked was that Adam has showed us some good form, some bad, but mostly when he's on, he's been in contention. He does gain on POA, but then the wind is a little less, so he's gaining or losing to the field when it is a windy as F condition. About less than 0.14, so that's not even a quarter of a stroke. So I'm not too super concerned about that. If we pull up his splits, so at the Travelers, he had a 24th, which I like. That's the TPC River Highlands. At RBC, well, he had a miscut. Let's see what he did to Sony and a miscut. And then at AT&T, this past miscut. So this is going off. A lot of it is going off, recent form. And if we go look at right here, he had a cut here at the Waste Management, but he had that T3 at OHL, he had a T11 at the Houston Open. So, when we get below, and the whole field is pretty not super sexy, but you're not going to get everything you want. But Adam Long, at least when he's on, projection ownership is pretty low. He could do some things that that might be that work out well. Nate Lashley, of course, had a pretty good showing in his hometown of Arizona at the Waste Management. Had a couple cuts, but also did okay at the OHL RSM. The best he's ever done here, he had a withdrawal. I'm not sure what that was for, but he had a T45. But what I was liking about Nate, it was the same reason what I liked about Nate is, he can put on POA. He's okay. He doesn't lose against the field and wind. But a lot of it's his approach when he's hot, gaining 5 strokes here at the recent event, gaining around the green. It always comes down to putter, different surface, so hopefully that picks up. So again, not, when you're down here, I think Nate Lashley could be live for this. Again, Will Gordon, this was, again, before I saw what the weather was coming in. Does lose a little bit in the wind, but has gained in difficult conditions and also likes to POA. So again, these were all kind of guys that I was looking at that could putt and do well on POA. And, not super sexy in the key buckets of approach around the green. But let me see. So this I liked a lot. He had a 3rd place at the Travelers this past summer. See what he did at RBC. Nothing there. What about the Sony? Miscut. So a lot of it was based off, again, some recent form and also going off what he did at the Travelers, and pretty elite off the tee. And then last but not least, Chase Seifert was a pick of mine. And again, it worked out well. Again, I was going off the POA, the green splits. So he does gain almost a half a stroke when he putts on POA. He can play in the wind, gaining over a stroke against the field. So that was, strong to see. Great on approach. Around the green, not so great, but it can get hot with the putter. And if we look at some past history, he had a 50th last year at the AT&T. RBC, nothing. Sony had a 38th in, not this recent, but back in 20. And then let's see, the Travelers. He had a 9th, but that was back in 2018. But again, Chase Seifert is someone I think that could be live. Now, let's just jump back real quick, and we can go into those guys. So just to kind of recap, I like Jim Furyk. The reasoning is I think he's solid off the tee. He's not long, but he's going to keep it in the fairway. Good on approach. Likes POA. And, of course, he had a 12-under win here in the Champions back in September. I like Adam Long. Recent form, POA was a positive split, if I remember correctly, for him. Nate, good on approach, positive when it comes to POA, and can manage in the wind. You got Will Gordon, again, elite off the tee. Some things might be a little less, but I think, could have some upside. And then Chase Seifert can play to win, can play on POA, and has shown some recent form. So that is those guys. Now I'm going to get into my phase real quick. Ricky Fowler, this is purely, and like I said, his ownership projection is not that high, but it's just Ricky's putter. Until I start to see it come around, until he gets confidence in it, I can't pay. I think he's in the upper 8s. I'm going to pass on that. You got Will Z almost at 10,000, and I looked at his win. There's not a ton of data on Will, but it was negative, and we just don't know enough. And for the price, I understand it. Like, if you look at what you got in this field, it's not a whole lot, but I'm not digging Will Z. Henrik Norlander, I believe what came up was his approach is just, especially from proximities 125, the areas that I'm looking for, not good. But again, I think it came up that he can play in a win and I think he was positive on POA splits. But the price, the ownership, I'm going to pass on Norlander at this time. And then I only got one more, and that's James Hahn, and the same thing. His track record in wind does not like POA, and in my model, I think he was way down there. So just everything from a analysis. And again, you're looking off historical data analysis. He had a nice showing at the Waste Management, of course, and I think he's maybe be a little chalky because of that. So yeah, I'm gonna pass on Hahn. But that's it. I've only got 4 fades this time. I dug and dug, and I just wasn't going to add an extra guy to add an extra guy. So that's what we got from a fade perspective. Projection ownership, I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. This is the only person on here also that you need to note is Harold Varner had I think almost 16% ownership projection. I can't show all the projections, of course, but I can show you guys some. You got Cantlay is up there at almost 22%. You got Berger at 22%. You've got Streelman almost at 22%. Some of the guys that I do like. Note to self, Berger does not play well in the wind. I just wanted to bring that out. So, if you are thinking of, pivoting off that high ownership, I could understand. Molinari with the recent form, and I was touting Molinari to keep an eye on, but all of a sudden, now his price is up to 9,300. He's, at 18%. We'll see. Maybe he'll be worth that, but to, get over 1x, to get over like 100 points is what you need to value justify this pick. I'm not going to have a total, maybe sprinkle of here or there, but yeah, I won't say he's a pure fade, but I'm not going to be playing quite a bit of him. Cameron Davis, again, he's so streaky, but right now he's been, so good off the tee and so good on approach. He can generate quite a bit of points. I think he's a great showdown play. I think, you can see one round where he could shoot 500-600 and then he can come out and shoot over. So, I'm going to probably not have a whole lot of Cameron Davis on this one. I mentioned Norlander, just crazy ownership right now, almost $9,000. And like I said, some of the things that were popping up that I just was not liking. So probably will be passing on Norlander, as I already mentioned. Okay. And like I said, HV3, Harold Varner III is also pretty highly owned. I think, like I said, at 16%. So just note that. All right, we need to get in the weather because this is a huge factor at Pebble Beach. And what I'm showing you here, this is pulled up off of Windfinder. I've mentioned this multiple times. If you are playing Showdown or even just betting everything, you need to check the weather. Guys that have been doing this a while do. The best place to do it is at Windfinder. Don't pull up your Weather Channel stuff. It's just not going to give you what you need. There's other apps I'm sure that do a good job, but this is the best one I found. And what I am going to highlight here is the 2 areas that you see here. That is Spyglass Hill, and this is, of course, Pebble Beach. We're pulling off this spot right here, which is, just so you know, if you pull up Windfinder, you want Pebble Beach / Fanshell. That is the closest that you can get for information on these 2 courses. And if we start to look over, Thursday doesn't look bad at all. You see maybe possibility of some rain, but the wind is what we're really concerned about. And, nothing on Thursday. But then you can see as we get into Friday, we're looking at 20-mile-an-hour winds with gusts, in the, lower 20s. That's significant. That is going to cause a problem. It is definitely going to make the course tougher. Excuse me. And also what you have to see here, and this is why I think some of the guys might have withdrawn, is that they saw this. Best case, they're getting mid-50s for all 4 days, low 50s on Sunday. It's going to be cold. I mean, you got to remember, these guys came from playing over in Hawaii. They also were playing abroad in the Middle East, where, it's hot. We just came from Arizona where it was perfect in the 80s. And I think some of these guys just looked at the weather and just said, and especially after the American Express, they dealt with a bit of cold there for them. I mean, they're wearing stocking caps and it was, getting down in the 20-30s in the morning. So, I think that's also why we've seen, the guys withdraw that have. So anyways, and then you got the same thing, Saturday, not so bad in the morning. So if you're playing Showdown, you might want to look at some guys teeing off in the morning, but you can see in the afternoon, it is going to pick up, and you've got gusts up to 33, 37 miles an hour towards the ending rounds. So that is something to look for. And then again, they're going to be 15 to 20 mile an hour winds with gusts up to 28 at 4 o'clock. that is significant. Again, as you see, they are right off the water. 8 holes, I believe, at Pebble Beach are right on the coastline. So it's going to be, this is going to be a grind. And, I think of Brett Snedeker. If Kisner was here, he'd be a good play. But I think Snedeker, kind of goes up on my thought process. So on that note, I did go through and give you guys some more guys that can navigate the wind. And so all these guys, I picked them on different reasons, but a big one was the wind. So Harry Higgs, I just want to show you this so you guys can see it from a sleeper perspective. He's not positive on POA, but the guy is gaining, over a stroke and a half against the field when he plays in the wind. If we just kind of look at some information of, the past, he had an 18th here last year at AT&T. At RBC, he had a 52nd. Travelers, he missed the cut in 20. And then we look at the recent Sony, he had a 32nd. So, like I said, these are we'll call them the second squad that I'll be looking at from a sleeper perspective. Let's see here. I have a double. Let's see. Michael Thompson. So Michael Thompson's interesting. Now, I looked at him in the beginning, but he does gain on POA. He's gaining almost a stroke, 3/4 of a stroke on the field in the wind. And, does the 3 buckets pretty well. Approach, around the green, putting. If we look at his history, he had a miscut here last year, but he had a 10th in 2019. And there's that kind of narrative going around that, anybody that's ever won here, except I think I think even Taylor. There was one guy, maybe it was Ted Potter. I can't remember the guy. But everybody that's won here has had like a 16th or best finish somewhere in their history. So, hey, he fits into that narrative. At the RBC, he had an 8th. And we look at Travelers, he had a 46. And let's take a look at the Sony. He had a 25th. So, Michael Thompson looks like, he could be a solid sleeper play. And somebody, like I said, that I'm going to be looking at. You got Denny McCarthy, where he is a great putter, but funny enough, POA, it's just neutral for him. But he's gaining almost a stroke in windy conditions. And what he does, like I said, typically pretty elite is the putting side. And if we go look at AT&T, he had a 66, but that was a while ago. What about the Sony? Did you play in the Sony ever? Nope. Doesn't like Hawaii. Okay. Travelers. Miss Company had a 47th back in 2018. And let's see, RBC. Miss Company had a 33rd in 92. So, Denny McCarthy, I'm just saying from a wind and conditions, might be someone to look at. Kevin Chappell, funny enough, not somebody that was on my radar. And then I just started to try to find out who excels in the wind. He's not a great putter, as you can see, but the best surface is POA for him. Over the historical, in a difficult, he can do all right in a difficult rounds. But like I said, gain almost a stroke and a half on the field when he plays in high winds. Funny enough, you can see here, he has gained positive putting. Everything else has been negative. If we go look at some past information, so he had an 8th here back in 2018, a 25th in 2020. At the RBC, at a 9th, that's way back, but 2 recent missed cuts. At the Sony, way back. I'm not going to even conclude that. Did I already look at Travelers? He had a 54th at the Travelers. So every time I think of Chappell, I think about like he came back from that back injury. I forgot where it's at now, but he shot a 59 or something ridiculous one day, and then like literally hasn't done a whole lot since. I'm curious where that would have been at. I'm just seeing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It could have been something like at Safeway, or it was a little while ago when he just rocked that 59 out and then just, didn't do a whole lot of. Joseph Bramlett, funny enough, I think he's one of the more solid plays down at this price. He is positive on POA, and he gains over a stroke and a half in the wind. And when I started to pull up, he had an 18th at the Farmers recently. And then we look at AT&T, he had an 18th last year, had a 40th. That's a while back. But he had, that 18th is a nice finish. Kind of fits almost that narrative. Nothing in the RBC. Let's look at the Sony. Well, he had a 45th recently. And did I look at Travelers? And he had a 41st at Travelers. So, Bramlett, from an ownership perspective, he could be a sneaky sleeper play. So, someone I'll probably plug in. I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. And I think that's about it. Again, check out the weather. like I said, things could change. Get through that, but definitely if you don't have Wind Finder, get the app. It's free, or go online, pull up Pebble Beach fan shell. That will help you, especially if you're doing showdown or making bets during the weekend. Just keep an eye on that weather. But right now, it's not looking too good for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We could have could be a grind out there. And that's it. Oh, and I need to go ahead and tell you who won the promotion. Congratulations to Gerard. You were the one that got spit out. I think I ended up getting like around 20 responses. So, you had about a 1 out of 20 to win this thing. So, Gerard, I'll ping you to get your email address, and then I will PayPal over the money. I appreciate everybody, and let's have a great weekend. If something else pops up, I'll let you guys know. But right now, is probably it for the Pebble Beach. I'll be back with you guys on Monday to talk about the Genesis at Riviera. And if you are new, please click the like, share us with anybody you think we get value. If there's anything you'd like to see different or added or improved, let me know. Of course, subscribe. It means the world to me right now. Again, this is all free content, running commercials, not trying to sell you anything. And also hit me up on Twitter if I can help you in any way possible. I will do my best. All right, guys, let's have a great weekend. Let's make some money and take care.